Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Well, let me tell you. It all started 3 years ago when my wife and I got permits to hike down to the waterfalls in Havasupai. But because of COVID, tourism to the falls kept getting postponed. But now, after a 3-year wait, we made it, baby. The video you're watching now will be a complete guide on how to backpack down to the falls and what to expect on your trip. In addition, I will give you the updates for 2023 and let you know what has changed since the reopening. The Havasu Falls area is located in the Grand Canyon in Arizona on an Indian reservation. The native tribe to this area was first known as the Havasu Baja, people of the blue-green waters. But today the tribe is more commonly known as the Havasupai tribe. The Supai village is located on the Havasupai Indian Reservation and is currently the most remote village in the United States. All of their supplies and mail are brought in via pack animals and helicopter. Perhaps the biggest hurdle to visiting Havasupai is actually getting the Havasu Falls hike permit. The first thing you have to do is make an account at havasupaireservations.com before February 1st. That's the day that the reservations open. On that day, log into your account before 8 a.m. Arizona time, and then immediately refresh your screen after 8 a.m. and purchase those tickets. Have your credit card on hand and purchase whatever dates are available. Summer it can get too hot and winter can have flash flooding. Typically spring and fall is the best time to visit. Also, there are several Facebook groups that are dedicated specifically to this hike. People often post their cancellations on there and are able to transfer dates if you were unable to get tickets on February 1st. Let's talk about a few things that have changed in 2023. Previously, reservations were made by phone only and they were for 1, 2, or 3 nights. Now all reservations are online and they're for 3 nights and 4 days no matter what. It costs about $100 to $125 depending on the day of the week, so each permit is going to run $300 to $400 per person. You used to have to check in at the Supai village, but now check-in is at the Grand Canyon Caverns, which is about an hour away from the trailhead. Also, you can no longer sleep or camp in your car at the trailhead the night before. It really is the responsibility of each tourist to bring the necessary gear and equipment for camping. The tribe does not offer or sell tents, sleeping bags, heaters, or camping supplies. The store stocks a limited number of food items, but you should really bring your own food, water filtration, and necessary gear to survive out in the wilderness for 3 nights. From the hilltop, aka the trailhead, it is 8 miles to the village and another 2 miles to camp. So you will descend a minimum of 10 miles on the first day before you get settled in at camp. Once you get to camp, set down your bag and begin to find a campsite that you are happy with. FYI, people leave every morning. If you don't find your ideal spot, wake up early on day 2 and relocate. That's exactly what we did. We had a great spot on day 1, but we found an even better spot on day 2. We just woke up early, placed our trekking poles down, and relocated. We talked to some neighbors that had moved sites every single day they were there. Honestly though, all the spots are beautiful and within about 3 minutes or less to a restroom. I have a full video posted on my channel of a walkthrough of the camp that you can check out if you're interested.
Sleepy, tired, sore, thirsty,
So nice though right now.
awesome, so worth it.
Would you say that it took your breath away?
My breath's away.
Anyways, good night. Once you get a good night's sleep and rest up, day 2 and 3 is when you can really start exploring. Camp is located between 2 of the main waterfalls, and it is less than a mile to access both of them. The main waterfalls people spend most of their time at is one of the biggest and easiest falls to get to from camp. It's the Havasu Falls. It's a short 15-minute walk with a minimal incline depending on where you are at camp, and these falls are beautiful. There is plenty of open space and never felt too crowded. There are a few benches and some nice spots just to lay around, hang out. You could literally spend a full day here just at this waterfall. In fact, we did. It's close enough to camp that you can walk back to use the restrooms, grab more food, and go back and forth several times throughout the day. The other falls close to camp is Mooney Falls. This one is about the same distance, but it's a little trickier to get to. This was my favorite part of all of the hikes, and also the best waterfall in my opinion. To access Mooney Falls, you have to descend down a wet rocky mountain holding onto a wet chain. And it is wet all year round. That's because of the mist from the falls itself. This creates a muddy surface in some areas and you need to have a good grip on the chain. Some people actually bring gloves, and there are usually gloves laying around, and it's probably a good idea to use them. I've jumped out of airplanes, I've bungee jumped, and I've done my fair share of thrill seeking, but this part of the hike still got my heart pumping. And Mooney Falls themselves really was a spectacular sight. I will never forget the feeling of how epic and beautiful it was. It's just one huge straight waterfall into that green-blue water. The next falls that we hiked to was Beaver Falls. Guides online state this as being a 6-mile round-trip hike, but our GPS clocked us at more than 10 miles. I'm not sure if the trails were washed out and we ended up taking a different route, perhaps. But either way, this hike was much more enjoyable than the hike down from the top of the canyon down into camp. This hike is pretty much all along the side of the river with several river crossings. It's much more scenic, and you'll have to stop and take pictures all along the way. If you get hot, you can just take a dip in the river, and this part of the hike was also a ton of fun and very, very beautiful. And when you finally get to Beaver Falls, it's really cool as well. It has several cascading falls that seem to never end. On day 3, we spent a lot of time vegging out at camp, exploring more, lounging about at the main Havasu Falls, and just took it easy since we were planning on leaving early in the morning. There were 2 things that we missed out on this trip, and one of them was the confluence, which is part of where the Blue River mixes into the Colorado River and you see a mixture of colors. But this hike was another 11 miles and we just decided to relax and chill instead. The other thing that we missed out on was the fry stand at the top of the Havasu Falls. There's a stand at the top of the falls that serves fry bread, but each time we checked it was closed. Apparently you just have to time it right. This just means we'll have to go back for another trip to hike to the confluence and make sure we get some fry bread. On day 4, in preparation for our final ascent, we left at 1 in the morning and we were the first ones to the hilltop around 7:30. I wanted to make sure that we got to the final switchbacks at the top before it got too hot. All in all though, I think this is a great bucket list trip for all hikers that you should have on your list. We have hiked all over North America and this had some of the most beautiful sights I've ever seen. And make sure you're subscribed. I'll be posting an entire video just on what gear to bring, what gear is essential, and what gear can be bought on a budget. I'm not some extreme ultralight backpacker by any means, and I wanted to make a list of gear that is practical and affordable by most people. Lastly, hit that thumbs up button if you found this video was useful, and I'll remind you to get outside, stay hydrated, and keep on moving. Careful. Stand up.
I knew it. I was like,
TLC.
I've been looking around.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
I've been
You should
looking
stick to
around.
the rivers and the lakes that you used to.